Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into excerpts from Adaobi, Tricia, and Nwaubani's novel, I Do Not Come to You by Chance.
Hmm.
This isn't just a story, it's the source material you shared with us, offering a powerful lens into, well, some intense pressures, crushing expectations.
Yeah, and really impossible choices faced by this family, specifically the main character, Kingsley.
Right, so our mission, really, is to guide you through this complex world, pull out the key insights, the nuggets of knowledge these pages hold.
And what jumps out immediately, I think, is how personal tragedy and just economic reality collide. It forces people down paths they'd never, ever have imagined.
Absolutely. And right at the start, the foundation for this family seems to be education, the power and promise they see in it. We meet Augustina first, Kingsley's mother.
Yeah, and the source makes it clear she was brilliant academically, top scores, really wanted to go to secondary school.
Yeah.
Well, the decision was made for her. Society, family. She became a tailor instead, despite being perfectly capable.
So right away, you see that clash.
Yeah.
Individual potential versus, these external forces, even though her name means destiny.
Exactly. It's quite ironic.
Then there's the engineer character. He sounds a bit different in the source.
Yeah, sort of an outsider figure. Wears shoes inside, uses a fork. But he's the one saying education can actually change the world, make it work for you.
He even names Augustina, linking her potential directly to fate and education.
It really sets a high value on formal learning right from the beginning. And you see that passed down, amplified even,
Yeah.
in Paulinus, Kingsley's father.
Paulinus, okay, he's got a master's from the UK himself.
Right.
And his plan for Kingsley, it was incredibly specific, not just go to uni.
No, chemical engineering
Yeah.
at a specific university, FUPO. And he expected Kingsley, the opera, the first son.
Carrying all that weight.
Exactly. He expected him to nail the entrance exams first try, no question.
And then, according to the source, Kingsley delivers. He does it, hits all the academic marks, high score, gets in, graduates well, checks every single box.
He does everything right by those traditional standards.
And here's where it really starts to unravel, isn't it? Despite all that success on paper.
Crushing unemployment. Prolonged. Just nothing. After graduation, the system that promised so much, it seems broken for him.
And it's more than just not having a job, especially as the opera. It's failing his family's expectations, his father's specific plan. That's a heavy burden.
Oh, absolutely. And you see it spill over into his personal life, his relationship with Ola.
Right, the source mentions her.
She expected him to be, progressing, providing.
Right.
And because he can't, it directly contributes to them breaking up. It shows how tied success and relationships are in that context.
Wow. And just when he's dealing with all that, boom, his father gets sick.
A stroke. And it's not just the illness itself, it triggers a complete financial collapse.
It's stark in the source, isn't it? Selling his mother's jewelry, her expensive wrappers.
Just to try and keep up with the hospital bills. The father had a respectable career, savings.
But inflation, the sudden medical costs, wiped it out. They go from stable to, well, desperate really fast.
And that desperation, that's the turning point. It's what leads them to Uncle Boniface, also known as Cash Daddy.
Ah, Cash Daddy. The source introduces him kind of subtly at first, doesn't it? Kingsley writing that slightly ridiculous love letter for him.
Yeah, maybe a little foreshadowing, bending reality, ethics, perhaps.
Could be. But when things get really bad, when they've run out of options.
Cash Daddy steps in. He provides the money they desperately need, that lifeline.
But it's not simple. The mother, she's deeply uncomfortable.
Deeply. She sees his money, his whole lifestyle, as filthy. It's the total opposite of her husband's values, honesty, hard work. You really feel that moral conflict in the family.
So Kingsley, pushed by this absolute necessity, he enters Cash Daddy's world, which has this nickname.
The Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA office,
Yeah.
Darkly ironic given what they do.
Right, because it's the hub for advance fee fraud. The 419 scams.
Exactly. Named after the Nigerian criminal code section for that kind of fraud. Pure deception.
And the source really breaks down how it works. Specific examples.
Oh, yeah. Like the scam with Mirabelle, they use all these fake documents, death authorization certificates, fund transfer forms.
Just milking her for money.
Shit.
Over 23 grand in 2 months and still asking for more.
Then there's the money washing one. This fake chemical lactama-based 69%.
To clean stained money, supposedly. And the cost is just outrageous.
$70,000. For one bottle, it's about creating these elaborate stories to justify endless requests for cash.
Or needing an anti-terrorist certificate for $15,000, or faking official letters like from the central bank promising huge sums, 200 million. The scale is kind of mind-boggling.
And the source doesn't just show the scammers, it mentions the victims too, Mr. Winterbottom, Mr. Hooverson.
Yeah, and that detail about Hooverson afterwards. Seeking therapy, contacting the FBI, Oprah.
It's important, because while the characters in the story might seem detached, maybe even find it funny.
The source reminds you these are real people whose lives are devastated. It brings home the impact.
Definitely. And the CIA office itself, it's got its own players. Protocol officer.
Wizard, yeah, doing the chat room scams.
Right.
Azuka, too. It's a whole operation.
And Cash Daddy's philosophy, it's a complete 180 from Kingsley's upbringing. He just dismisses education. Is it certificate that we shall eat?
Wow.
And he's got this contempt for poor people, blames them for being poor. It's brutal.
A total clash with Kingsley's parents' values. He's stuck operating in this world, but still carrying, his past.
It works, in a way. The source shows Kingsley getting rich fast.
New car, duplex.
Yeah.
He even buys his mother a Mercedes. He can suddenly provide financially in a way his father never could.
Yeah, the tangible gains are there,
Yeah.
but the intangible cost, it's huge, especially with his mother.
That relationship is so powerful in the source. She calls him a disgrace to your father's memory, rejects his gifts for her health.
Because she knows where the money comes from, that judgment. That's a heavy price for Kingsley.
And it affects the siblings too, right? His sister, Charity.
Gets into university through bribery, facilitated by his connections, a direct result of his new life.
And his younger brother, Godfrey.
Starts acting the part, valuing quick money, dressing like a drug baron. They even argue, and Godfrey calls Kingsley out on his hypocrisy.
Ouch. So his old life is really slipping away. Ola's gone.
Yeah, she represents that traditional path he couldn't sustain. Now his relationships are more transactional. Prostitutes are mentioned. Until he meets Merritt.
Merritt. The source presents her as different.
Very different, honest, intelligent. She seems to stand in stark contrast to everything else in his current life. Meeting her, it complicates things for him. It seems to stir something.
But this world he's in, it's dangerous. The source includes Azuka's story.
Yeah, chilling detail. He gets scammed himself by his own contact in Iran, and then just disappears.
Yeah.
Vanishes.
A reminder that nobody's safe in that game. Not really.
And the operation isn't just about the scams anymore, is it? Cash Daddy has bigger plans.
Politics. Running for governor.
And the source shows how that illegal money starts funding seemingly legitimate political activities, meeting ministers, talking about huge projects like an international airport.
The lines just get completely blurred. Criminal enterprise, political power.
Yeah.
It all merges.
But that world has its own dangers. Cash Daddy dies suddenly.
Poisoned.
Yeah, poisoned. And the source points to the prevailing theory among his inner circle, like protocol officer.
Political assassination?
Exactly. Suggests the danger wasn't just the fraud, but the politics he was trying to break into.
So Cash Daddy's gone. And then there's this pivotal moment.
Protocol officer comes to Kingsley, hands him the keys, the documents, basically offers him the whole operation, step into the void.
And Kingsley's reaction, the source mentions he hesitates, thinks of his mother, thinks of Merritt.
Yeah, it shows that conflict is still there. Despite everything, those older values, those newer connections, they still pull at him. Ultimately, he takes the reins. He sets up King's Ventures International, King's Cafes, legitimate-looking businesses, importing computers, running internet cafes.
But there are also fronts, right? The new CIA offices.
Essentially, yes. The operation continues, just under a new banner.
And you see these little moments that highlight the complexity. Like that conversation with Andrew Wanyeshe.
Yeah, the guy who studied in the U.S. lamenting the 419 stereotype, talking about Nigeria's great minds.
Well, Kingsley himself is living this successful life built on that very stereotype. The irony.
Or even small details, like seeing a pepper seller with a mobile phone. It hints at broader changes, even while those traditional paths to success remain blocked for so many.
And there's that scene, the fight in the business center. Kingsley just watches.
With this new detachment, it's striking. It really shows how much he's changed. He's not the hopeful graduate anymore.
He's accepted this alternative path. He's in it, fully.
Yeah.
Even if his mother's judgment, still hangs over him.
He's transformed. He's adapted to survive and even thrive in this environment.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you listening? We've really walked through this world where education, the traditional promise, hits a dead end for Kingsley.
Yeah, forcing him into these desperate circumstances, these impossible choices.
And you've seen how that pursuit of wealth, when the normal ways are blocked, leads down this path of deception. There are definite tangible gains, but huge personal costs too.
What's really fascinating, I think, is that complex interplay the source shows us. Those traditional values, the intense family pressure, and just the brutal reality of trying to survive economically.
Mm.
And if you zoom out, connect it to the bigger picture, it really gives insight into how a lack of opportunity doesn't just shape one person's life.
It shapes how a whole country can be perceived, right?
Yeah.
Often boiling down complex realities into these harmful stereotypes.
Exactly. This isn't just Kingsley's story. It's a deep dive into these powerful, often hidden forces that shape lives and livelihoods.
Which leaves us with something for you to think about. In a world where those promised paths, those traditional routes to success, seem unreliable, maybe even blocked, what are the real costs to ourselves, to our families, to society, when the easiest way forward seems to be the path of least resistance, no matter the ethical questions?